edition of the TimeFlies podcast. I'm your host, Dario, and the Dream Team is back. We got my guy Mike in the building. What's good, boy? How you been, man?
Chilling.
It's been a minute, bro.
It has been.
It's been
well, in minutes since we've been in the makeshift studio, but
in person, yeah. But go check out that episode. Me and Mike, we dropped one. We were talking about Nas's Magic 3. That was via Zoom, but like I said, finally got Mike back in the building, in person.
Yes, sir.
It's the only way to do it. Before we get into today's episode, my guy Mike, just how you been? How's the family? How's everything? How's life?
Blessed, man.
Yeah.
Don't complain too much. So maintain.
Maintain.
So
pushing through.
Gotta push through. If you complain, you attract the wrong energy to your life. You just gotta keep pushing.
Oh, that's a bar. Jesus, that's a bar. You wanna get into it? You wanna get right into it?
Let's get right into it.
Alright, bet. Okay, so let me start off with a little disclaimer. So, shout out to my boy Jeff and Rainer. Rainer, specifically, he's a big Drake stan. I was trying to get them on the pod and talk about the Boys album. We're going to be talking about hip-hop in 2023, hip-hop in general. We're going to go a lot of different places with this episode. But the first thing we're going to start off with, we're going to start off talking about The Boy. We're going to be talking about For All the Dogs. Now, Rainer, like I said, he's a Drake stan. And I was trying to get him on the pod, but scheduling just got in the way and shit. So Rainer, if you're watching this or hearing this, I'm sorry. But I've been trying to get my shit off, and I'm going to get my shit off right now. Okay, now I got that out of the way. Alright, so For All the Dogs, if we're talking hip-hop in 2023, of course we got to talk about the king of hip-hop. We got to talk about Drake. I think that's undeniable.
Undeniable.
Oh, and obviously...
We never saw a run like this.
100%. Obviously, chime in whenever. So yeah, we got to talk about The Boy. This is one of, if not the most anticipated albums of 2023. So going into this album, I was telling my boys, and we're in a group chat, and I'm like, yo, Rainer, The Boy has pressure on him. And Rainer was like, no, he's like, Drake can't have any pressure on him. He's a king of hip-hop. Whatever he's going to do is going to go diamond, gold, whatever, right? And I'm coming at Rainer from the perspective of, all right, listen, his last 3 projects, starting from CLB, Certified Lover Boy, Honestly Nevermind, and then it was Her Loss with 21. Certified Lover Boy at the time was going up against Donda.
Right.
In my opinion, I think Donda got it by a landslide.
If we're talking about quality of music,
correct.
1,000%.
That's what I was talking about. I was talking about quality of music, and unfortunately, the whole Kanye, the whole Ye and Drake stuff, it was really like butting heads in that moment.
That was one of the climaxes of that. Yeah.
Exactly. So of course, the general audience, they're gonna pit the 2 albums together, since they came out around the same time. Whose album was better? I think, again, you said and I said, I think Donda got out by a landslide. The quality of music was a lot better. Drake, Certified Lover Boy was a good album, but it wasn't what we were hoping for from Drake.
It's what's become the expectation for a Drake album.
100%.
I'm gonna, because I know you've been waiting to go ISO on this. We'll further that conversation.
But we're gonna come back to that point exactly. Okay, so then after CLB, what's the album after that? Honestly Nevermind. Honestly Nevermind is, if you're a hip hop head, you know Honestly Nevermind is not a hip hop album.
There's a reason why he
which I'm not mad at.
The way he did.
Which I'm not mad at. I get it. Drake is trying to cater to different markets. He's trying to cater to fucking Ibiza, all the white people in Ibiza going crazy, and Mykonos and all that shit. Yeah. I like the album. My brother, shout out Diego, my brother, he loves house music. So I kind of grew up with that music. Yeah. So I was kind of used to it. I wasn't mad at it. I liked a lot of songs of the album.
To that music.
Facts. So I wasn't mad at the album. But of course, if we're talking hip hop, you can't bring up Honestly Nevermind within Drake's discography. You're not gonna bring up the album. Okay.
Just had the jungle 21 Savage at the tail end of it, which was fire. What was the name of that again?
Her Loss.
No.
The song.
It was released as a Lucy originally, and then it came back. Jimmy Cooks.
Fire. Yes. And perfectly done. Nice little segue to the album after Honestly Nevermind. We got Her Loss, which is a joint album with 21. And the last song off of Honestly Nevermind, like you just said, Jimmy Cooks, was a prelude to Her Loss. Now, Her Loss is a joint album. It's not an album that Drake has on his own. Even though people say Drake has a majority of the songs, he's on most of the songs, 21 is barely on the album ad-libbing, right? in my opinion, is still a Drake and 21 album. It's not
For
a
sure.
Drake album solo.
That's a joint.
So, you take that into consideration. So then I was telling Rainer, I'm like, listen, his last 3 projects have not been it. They have not been it. They have not been what the Drake fans, what the hip hop fans are expecting from Drake, the king of hip hop. It's time. We need a solidified classic. In my opinion, I think Take Care is his only solidified classic. With Nothing Was the Same really close behind it. I think you can add it to his discography as far as classics, but as far as undeniable, undisputable, I only have Take Care. And for an artist of Drake's caliber, the king of hip hop for the past decade, for the past 15 years, shouldn't he have more than one body of work that's an undisputable classic?
It's tough because you're contextualizing it with the hip hop that we came from, which isn't necessarily relevant to the standards of today. Where, in our eyes, something that hindered even the best rappers of our generation, the Jadakiss and the Fabulous, was the fact that they don't really have a classic album. I mean, Kiss, obviously with the Locks, you could argue, but in our
I'm gonna let you cook, but I already got a dispute against that. But I'm gonna let you cook.
The rappers that we come from, they needed a classic something. Fab was very relevant in the mixtape circuit, but if you're talking like studio albums as they're projected, as they're released, you could say Fab probably doesn't have a classic album.
No, I agree with you. Fab and Jada, they don't have classic albums as far as commercial releases. But this is where I dispute that. Fab and Jada were never where Drake is now. Fab and Jada, you feel me? So I feel like the comparison we can make, and I'm not talking about the kind of music they make, I'm not talking about what they say in their music. I'm just talking about from the standpoint of within the hip hop culture, as far as being the guy in the hip hop culture, I feel like you can compare Drake with Jay.
Yeah.
How long was Jay's run? Jay's run was damn near over a decade, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and how many classics, in your opinion, I'm asking you, because in my opinion, this guy is the music encyclopedia, not just hip hop, but in your opinion, how many classics does Jay have?
That could be debate. I think, okay, if we're talking objective classics, like to the masses, because I'm someone, and I think I vocalized this before, who, in my Lifetime Volume 1, I look at as a classic. The majority doesn't.
Okay.
Long story less long, I would say that the majority of people will say Jay's classics, Reasonable Doubt,
yeah,
probably Hard Knock Life.
Okay. This is the masses you're talking
The
about.
masses.
Okay.
Hard Knock Life.
You already got 2.
The Blueprint.
You already got 3.
And the Blackout.
You got 4. That's
I think
4.
that those are universal classics in terms of the masses.
So that's the masses. You're talking about the masses. You named 4 albums. And I think it's fair to say, to the masses within the hip-hop culture, Drake, I think maybe has 2. Maybe has 2. And I think Nothing Was the Same is a conversation. So that's what I'm saying. I'm saying like
in some
Drake,
circles, if you're reading this too.
I've never heard that.
Yeah, I've heard that.
You've heard
I
this is a classic.
I actually think that that's one of his more revisitable, if that's a word, albums.
I like that album too.
I still go back. Like I'll still bump that in the gym. Some of that shit still goes. It's just it's a different hip hop, and it's kind of to that generation. And I know we're gonna go into ISO, but to that generation, that Cole, Drake, Wale, Kendrick that we always talk about.
Sean, don't forget Sean.
Sean, they're right at the cusp of albums mattering and then the game transitioning into a singles and a streaming game, so there was less emphasis on the album. But the rappers who cared about making albums still made classics. You still get a classic out of Cole. You still get a classic, undisputed with the Good Kid, Mad City from Kendrick.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, they were right on the cusp.
They were right on the cusp, so it's a
and
different game.
copies,
So you don't really need the classic album for the hip hop artist today to be the guy, unfortunately.
I mean, I get what you're saying, but this is
to us, yes, you do.
Because we're from an older school.
To
I get
us,
it, yeah.
yes, but to the people that he's appealing to with this
But listen to the names that you just mentioned. You mentioned Cole. You mentioned Dot. You mentioned Sean. I'm pretty sure you mentioned Wale, right?
Of course.
Drake is in that class.
Yeah.
Drake is in that class. So he falls within the same parameters of coming out with a classic or not.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. If like, I get it, Drake.
He should have. If you're asking me if I think he should have more than what he has as far as his catalog, absolutely.
Okay, cool. So we're in agreement from there. And this is just my whole point with Drake. I just feel like Drake, being the artist and being where he is right now in the mountain of hip hop, he should just have way more certifiable classics than he does right now. And he's been shitting the bed. For me, he's been shitting the bed. And if you're the king of hip hop right now, like, I get it. If you've been on the hill for a while, you might get lazy, you might get comfortable, shit might go through your fingers, right? I get it. But it's been crazy because Drake has been on this hill for damn near 15 years that I think he just lost sight of what made him the king of hip hop. And I'm not saying that he can never get it back, but this was just my gripe with Drake going into this album. I was going into this album being like, all right, like, let's see. This is like for me, you had 0 for 3. Great albums. I listened to them. I'm not saying they're bad albums, but again, if we're comparing just like Drake's status in hip hop to others before him, we gotta hold Drake to the same standard that we did to others.
But you also understand that Drake is no longer even making albums since More Life. He's been making playlists. It's packaged like an album, but he's been making playlists.
And why do you think he's doing that?
Because he has to appeal to everyone. And he's got to get his streaming numbers. If he can get streams from this community, putting some real rap shit on there, like the Conductor produced...
Conductor, we have a problem! 8 a.m. in Charlotte?
8 a.m. in Charlotte, which is fire.
Fire.
And then he could have the Scissor record. He could have... you know, if he could touch all these markets, get the streaming in all places, that's the main objective. The classic album... And there's that infamous quote that haunts Drake, but he knows exactly what he's doing. On Scorpion, what did he say? On Rose's...
Oh, my bad.
What was it? Sandra's Rose. He said, and I know a classic is just 10 of these. So he knows exactly what he has to do to appeal to us. He doesn't care.
Facts. No, and all the power to him. And yes, you brought me to something that I remember now. He said, he said he's never going to drop an entire rap album because of what you just said. He has too many different markets to cater to. But that's what's I feel like that's what's holding him back.
That is his gift and his curse.
Facts. If he focuses on one album, why can't he just drop 2 albums back to back? Drop a hip hop album, 10 tracks, 10 to 13 tracks, straight hip hop, boom bap. It doesn't even have to be all boom bap. It could be Boy Wonder. It could be 40. It could be any of these hip hop producers, right? And then drop another album back to back where it's purely R&B. He doesn't have to drop in one project half R&B, half rap. Why doesn't he drop one entire rap album, one entire R&B album?
He could do that, or he could do the Speaker Box Love Below thing.
I mean, yeah, true. But I'm saying,
I think he tried that with Scorpion. But,
yeah, that's what I'm saying. In one project, he had like 2 sides to it. And I'm saying, like, fuck that. Drop an entire hip-hop album, and then drop an entire R&B album, maybe within a month of each other. And then that rap album, if it's as good as we think it could be, he's gonna have the certified undeniable classic, and he'll be in the conversation now.
Yeah.
You feel me?
And he would be able to deliver. He chooses not to. That line told him. He chooses not to.
You're so right, man. That's his gift and his curse. But yeah, man. So that was my gripe. That was my gripe with Drake. Before we get into the album, because of course we're gonna break it down track by track. I've been listening to this album heavily as of late in preparation for the pod. But do you have anything that you want to say towards my remarks or anything independently? Whatever you want to, wherever you want to go.
We're in agreement there. I mean, I think, based on our standards, we all hope that Drake would have that across the board classic. Where, I mean, Take Care, to your point, is probably the most universally accepted classic because that's what carves out Drake as an artist. That gives the sound, that gives the context. That's really where he came to be with the assistance of The Weeknd. That dark, melodic, but Yep.
So, tell me your thoughts, initial thoughts, listening to the album. Did you like it? Were you disappointed? I don't think you were disappointed, but just tell me your feelings, your thoughts about the album when you heard it.
For All the Dogs.
Yeah, For All the Dogs.
You know, like I was saying earlier, this is what a Drake album's become. I haven't said to myself, damn, Drake's coming. Pause. Midnight? since nothing was the same. Because I know what to expect. We're going to get joints we really like out of this. Is it ever going to be a consistent through and through listen? I don't think we're ever going to get that from Drake. And so here you have your moments. Like I reference, because it's my type of shit, the Charlotte joint produced by Conductor, along with some other, yeah.
Conductor!
Nah, along with some other shit on here. Like there was some good, R&B shit on here. But I can't say I was disappointed because the bar is not there. Like I said, I know I'm going to get a couple of joints from Drake that I'll listen to forever. Because he is that level of artist. Mm-hmm. He chooses to, produce these albums the way he does. And so you get what you get. I can't say I was disappointed. I can't say I've listened to the entire album more than twice either. That's it. That's really where I'm at with Drake's albums. Like,
as far as just listening to Drake. Period.
Yeah, because I'm always gonna listen. I love Drake's music. Drake's one of those artists who defines an era in your life. For us, this is our 20s. This is our late teens, our whole 20s.
Facts.
Him, like that same class, and he's still at the top of it. So I'm always gonna listen. I'm always gonna get something that I like out of it. But as a body of work, I like the cover.
Adonis drawing the cover. Shout out Adonis. But yeah, no, I mean, as far as me personally listening to the album, I'm right on par with you, man. Like, I liked it first time listening to it. I liked it. I wasn't disappointed. It's not that I wasn't disappointed. I just, like, how do I put it? Like, I guess I was just.
You want something else out of it? Were you expecting something else?
I wasn't expecting anything else from him. But I guess I wanted something more from him. Like, this album was kind of what I was expecting. And going into it, I wanted Drake to put out that classic album, but it's just another example of, like, he doesn't care. He's going to do what he wants to do. And this is what we get, which is not bad music. It's quality music. It's great music. There's songs off here that I fucking love.
And Cold
Smoked. We're gonna get into that. That's one of my gripes. But we're gonna get into that. Just like another little kind of annoying thing that I'm kind of like over with Drake is like he's still talking about the same stuff about how girls have like done him over. So he calls this album For the Dogs, and everybody thinks he's gonna be rapping and going at everybody's necks on this album, right? Now, like that was kind of on us, the fans, the general hip hop fans and Drake stans, putting that expectation on him. But when you listen to the album, he's talking about the same shit. He's talking
about the women of the dogs. It's for the women who are dogging him out.
But he's talking about the same shit. He's talking about women that are breaking his heart, women that he tried to put onto like amazing things, material things, taking them to trips, and they break his heart again. Like, we've heard this song over and over from Drake, bro.
That tells me that he's bored with music and maybe at a standstill creatively. Because I feel like he talks about those things to latch on to the relatability that he had. Because that was Drake's whole thing when he first came out.
Dog, but it's 15 years later.
But the thing is, he's reaching.
What are we doing?
He's reaching for that connection point. I remember he said something on the Lemon Pepper freestyle about, not even being able to be relatable anymore. I think that's a real thing in his head. So he goes back
to what he knows.
He draws from the original source, but it doesn't sound the same because when he used to do it, shit was fresh. The shit just, was a different perspective. Now it's like, I don't know that we're getting, genuine real life experiences, or if he's just giving us this because he knows that the large majority of people are just going to be like, yeah, I connect. But people don't really listen. No, okay. You expect something else creatively from Drake because you know he is that level of artist.
Like, he's
experienced. I'm trying to avoid going on the same, Joe Budden rant because Joe had a perspective that was similar that I had too. But
no, but we're talking about Joe Budden when he was saying that, like, yo, what are you doing? Like, you're talking about the same stuff. Like, he's kind of like hanging around younger artists. It's like, you're not that young artist anymore. That's what Joe Budden was saying. But he has a point. But going back to the whole women breaking his heart, like, it's just recycled, bro. And you've had experiences in your life. You have a son, and yeah, he's incorporated his son a little bit more into music. But I feel like we should get a little bit more of that. And like, dog, you go from fucking the embassy that the house that he built is a fucking museum. Like, the experiences and the different perspectives that he can come from, but we're still talking about women breaking your heart. Like, what are we doing, bro? So I'm not a Drake stan. So again, if you're listening to this, leave it in the comments. Let us know a song, or I don't know, maybe a project that me and Mike maybe missed. I don't know how that's possible, but let us know about a song or something
They'll
that you
probably
might be
say
talking
so
about something
far
different.
gone.
Right?
That's where they'll go back to. But...
Right. All right, man. So now that we talked about a lot about going into the album, why don't we actually dive into the album? You feel me? So, first track, Virginia Beach. I think what I'm gonna say is what everybody was thinking. Everybody thought he was gonna open the track going at Push's neck.
Yeah, but I think even that's calculated. I think he names it that. He knows what people are thinking, and he just comes in the way he comes in. Like, so it's never as obvious as it appears with someone like Drake. Just like Kanye, it's never.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it was cool though.
I liked it. I like Virginia Beach. Next song, Amen, featuring Tizo Touchdown.
Fire.
You like it? Okay.
I think it's one of the standouts.
Ooh,
I
interesting.
think it's one of the standouts. I think Tizo smoked that. I think that was one of the stronger efforts on the project.
Interesting. This is actually a skip for me.
Yeah.
This is a skip for me. Tizo comes back in a couple songs, in a few songs actually. He comes back and he smokes it.
Yeah.
But as far as right now, me, I skip it. And you think it's one of the stronger outings
for
Drake?
It's one of the stronger.
Interesting. Calling for You, we pick up from the Her Loss collaboration. 21 Savage is on it. And one thing that I think this is like the first time that we hear it in this album where Drake does the beat switch.
Yeah.
And he's kind of, I don't want to say he's copying Travis, but he's going the Travis route. And he does that for a few songs on this album, where like the first beat is one beat and the second half is another beat. 21 is rapping on a completely different beat on this song.
This is Jimmy Cooks too. Didn't they do the same thing?
I believe so, yeah.
It's
so
the same formula. That, can we be real?
Jimmy Cook? What?
Calling for You is from the cutting room floor of Her Loss.
I like it though.
It's cool.
Yeah.
But that's what it is.
It's cool.
it's a leftover from Her Loss. It was on the cutting room floor.
How about 21 though? 21's been on a run.
21's a beast.
21's been on a run.
21 has great chemistry with all the great artists of this generation. Him and Cole link up, fire. Him and Drake, they always got some shit together. So 21 is it.
Underrated?
Yeah.
Why is that? Why do you think?
Because the whole image and the time he came out, he came with the class of SoundCloud rappers. The name 21 Savage very in line with the brand and the time that he came. But he's a lot bigger than what he's presented as. And he can rap. He makes great music. He's got a sense of humor. He's got personality in his music. But time will be on his side. When people look back at his catalog, that's a catalog to look back on. Metro Boomin and everything.
Metro Boomin, want some more? Yeah. Alright, so after Calling for You, this is to me personally, this is the beginning of a little bit of a run for Drake on this album.
Yeah.
Fear of Heights, into Daylight, into first person shooter featuring J. Cole. Okay, I don't know, before we get into that song, I don't know if you have anything to say about Fear of Heights and Daylight.
Daylight was one of the stronger
outings
as well. That is a sequence right there on this album.
And Daylight, the end of Daylight, if I'm not mistaken, is when Adonis is freestyling a little bit. It's like, nothing with my man, right?
Yeah.
I was like, okay, cool, but step aside. I was like, please step aside. Okay, so now let's get into the fucking smoke show. The smoke show. Yeah. Yo, nobody wants it with Cole right now, bro.
Why even allow him to be on the record?
Okay, so this is where I gotta, as much hate as I give Drake, let me give him a little bit of flowers right now. I want to give the respect to Drake for even allowing this to happen. Because if we're keeping it real, have we seen K-Dot have J. Cole on a song on one of his albums? No. Have we seen Big Sean have J. Cole on one of his recent albums? Or K-Dot? Or maybe Wale, I'm not sure. But like, you know what I'm saying? Like artists that are that tier, in our opinion.
Wale and Cole go back and forth.
They do, yeah. But the big three, Drake, Cole, and Kendrick. K-Dot doesn't have Drake on any of his songs, or Cole on any of his songs. Yeah. J. Cole hasn't had any Drake songs on his albums. The only one that I can think of is In the Morning. Was that off of his debut?
That was off a mixtape.
That was off a mixtape, but then he put it in Sideline Story, or no? Am I bugging?
It's been a while, bro. He may
have. Maybe. Right. But anyway, Drake, he puts J. Cole on his album, and he knows that when we see that feature on this album, everyone's gonna gravitate towards that song, because like we just said, it's two out of the big three. We want to see who's gonna go at who. We want to see who's better at rapping. And yeah, like I said, it's a fucking smoke show.
But this song speaks to the whole thing about Drake. Drake doesn't give a fuck about us. He doesn't because the thing is, Drake is a very capable rapper. I've heard it time and time again. He is. He's doing this. He's making the song the song. He's laying the floor out for Cole. There's nothing Drake could have done with that Cole verse.
Wait,
Cole
so you're
was
saying
like a man possessed.
So you're saying Drake laid out the carpet for him? It's like, yo, do you, bro?
Got it.
So he's running from the smoke.
Running from the smoke. There's nothing he can do, but
no, you can't. No. There is
no.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say there's nothing wrong about that.
No, there's nothing you can do about it.
No, you can't. You can actually show up. That's what you can do about it.
Versus Cole,
you can try and show up.
You can.
And if he tried to show up,
he would probably do good. Yeah. But the thing is, guarantee you, if this was on a 40 style record, you know, the submarine sample, a little slower tempo, lemon pepper-esque, Drake's gonna try to rap. On a beat like that, you know you have no chance against Cole. Cole's gonna fucking bounce all over that like Spalding. Pause.
I mean, I get what you're saying, bro, but like, I don't want to use it as an excuse, bro. Like,
it's not an excuse.
You hear Cole going crazy saying that I'm 3-2, I'm the numero uno, and then fucking you got Drake over here talking about taking girls to dinner and being like, who to go? Like, yo, what the fuck, bro?
Like Muhammad Ali.
Oh, Cole, yeah. He said when things aren't connecting.
Cole, like I got a job at IT, but that was a shot at I love Cole, bro, and I love him more in this era of his career than I even did before, because he has developed so fucking beautifully. In contrast to Drake, not to say he necessarily hasn't, but with Cole, like, his projects are getting better. His rapping is getting better.
No, Cole as an artist has gotten better than Drake. There's no question.
Cole is like,
you see the growth.
Man.
You see the growth within like what he's talking about. You also see the growth of his rapping ability, being able to rap in different schemes and different flows.
Exactly. And he cares about that piece of it, and that's what. But see, and I try not to apply my old school rules to this shit, but I can't help it. I love when a guy like Cole gets on a track and he's like, "Nah, I'm not here to be your friend. I'm here to kill you." The same way I love that no matter how famous Meek Mill got, he goes up to a radio station. What's he doing? He's gonna freestyle.
He's gonna funk, right?
He just got done with funk.
Yeah, I gotta watch that. I didn't see it.
He just got done with funk. I like rappers who keep in line with my core values of this shit. When it comes to rap, like, you can get as famous, have as many hits as you want, but when it comes down to the essence of this shit, whether you're on a track with another guy who's a certified rapper or you're up at the radio station, I'm coming for all of you.
Facts.
I love that spirit. I love that. Like, and I can't. And that's honestly, to your point, that deducts from Kendrick's legacy too, because I don't think Kendrick is aligned with that, or maybe he doesn't give a shit neither. But dudes like Cole, dudes like Meek, even Sean too. Sean's another guy. If he goes up to a radio station, he's gonna rap.
Yeah.
He's gonna rap, and let's not forget the whole control and everything that set fire to all this was because Sean had a track. Him, Kendrick, and Jay Electronica.
Yeah. Sean, we need you, bro. And we know you're doing your fatherhood stuff, and we love to see that. But we need you, though.
Yeah, and you know, Sean, even though like we can make the argument of who gets on tracks with who as far as the biggest artist, but I mean, Sean also had the Detroit Cyphers on this last album on Detroit 2.
Yeah.
So
like
he does shit that shows. Yeah, I can have hits. Oh yeah, Marvin and Chardonnay, yeah, that's on, but I could rap. And that's something that it made me respect Sean after a while, because at first I was like, this dude's delivery's weird, his voice is fucking weird, he's got a weird thing about he raps his fucking ass off.
Yeah, man. So we love that class, Cole, Kendrick, Drake, Sean, Wale, all that. But going back to this song, man, again, it's a fucking smoke show, and I just like, it's a fucking smoke show.
Like, yo, fuck all that, back to me.
Fuck all that. Back to fucking Drake getting smoked out of his boots from fucking Cole. Nah, man, it's just like...
No, that's true.
He did, and I get it. Huh?
He ran from the fight.
He ran from the fight. But I also want to throw this at you. What if whatever Drake rapped on that song, right? He was rapping. What if that was Drake's... He actually was trying. If he was actually trying, and it was on a different beat too. So I just want to throw that out there because people are gonna use that as an excuse, whatever. But what if we find out that Drake was actually in the fucking studio? Like, oh shit, I just heard Cole's verse. Let me try and pick my shit up. Bro, if he like,
Nah, I don't think
I don't think so either. But if that would be crazy.
I don't even want to know.
We just need to disparage.
Drake, I know you're listening. If that's the case, don't even tell us that's the case.
I'm just saying, if we find out through some sort of blog, I don't fucking know. But
no, you can tell by the
crazy.
way Drake approached the track. He put his verse on the track first, and Cole came in it. There's no way you're talking about the shit you're talking about on that first verse, knowing that Cole just open the asshole of that track. I don't care who you are.
Yeah, no, Cole went crazy. Okay. Do you have anything else to say about?
No, there's nothing more to be said. The fall off will be beautiful, I'm sure.
Facts, Cole. We love you, man. Okay, after that, we got I Don't Give a Fuck featuring.
I never want to hear this song again.
Really? Damn. Sometimes I find like we're so different. I love this song.
I never want to hear this song again.
I have never listened to Yeet. I still don't really listen to Yeet, but from what I've heard is the sound of this song is Yeet's sound. And it's it reminds me of the Travis Scott, but it's like a little bit more electronic guitar-ish kind of wave. And
damn, that is a decorative way of saying trash.
I don't think that we talking about the song, we talking about that kind of music.
That song. I mean, probably that kind of music too. I don't know too much about it.
I don't mind it, yo. I like the incorporation of different like elements of different genres of music into hip hop.
But it's been done before and it's been done better.
All right, not mad at your opinion. But yeah, I like that song. That's a no for you. This is 7969 Santa. This is where Tizo comes in. He's like, "Those will be those, though we may roam." Kills it.
Yeah,
fucking kills it.
He smoked that.
Tizo, salute. Definitely killed it. Okay, now this is another gripe that I have. After that, we got Slime You Out. What? Not a gripe.
When you edit this, you gotta keep the gripe count. You gotta do that.
Maybe, I'll do that. Thank you. I like where your mind's at. All right, so no, this is another thing. So Slime You Out featuring SZA.
Yeah.
First, before I give my take, tell me your take. What'd you think about the song? What'd you think about? Because this was the first single, if you will.
That's the whole issue, though. That the song, if it was just kind of in pocket in the album, it still would probably be somewhat disappointing to me. But when you put it out there as a first single, you're just setting yourself up. This is not a first single track. And I mean, maybe that was purposefully done too, but in this day and age, 5 minutes and 10 seconds for the single. I mean, you see Drake and SZA, you know the history there. It's like this. You don't know really what you're gonna get.
So you were disappointed?
Yeah. I think SZA actually smoked her verse though.
SZA did smoke her verse, but I'm in agreement with you. I just feel like the song should have been better. And even within the sequencing of the album, it's still not what I wanted.
No, but it would have been. Tell me not. It would have been better had you just heard it like that, kind of
for the first time.
The album.
It would have been, yeah.
Right.
It would have, yeah. So I think that might be the general consensus with that song, in general. But like you said, SZA did smoke her part, but I don't know. It was just something about that song that didn't connect with me. Yeah. Like you said, Drake, SZA, you're expecting something. And it's not that it's a bad song, but it could have been more. So after that, then we got Bahamas Promises. For me personally, it's not that I don't like the song, and it's not a skip, but I'm just kind of like, okay. Okay.
There's a whole lot of that after this. There's a whole lot of, okay.
Alright. Tried Our Best is kind of the same thing as far as Bahamas Promises. It's not a bad song, it's not a skip, but it's kind of like, okay. And then we got a nice little shout out to DJ Screw the World.
Yep.
Now, actually one of my favorites.
Drew Picasso?
Yeah, Drew Picasso is fire. I fuck with it. Drew Picasso, I like the tempo of the song. I like what he's talking about.
No, he's talking on this. That is something you can tell where he's drawing from a genuine place. Because it's just, you feel that shit when you listen to music. When you listen to the way we listen, you can tell what's contrived and what he's just, Lord knows where he was just kind of writing that record.
One of my favorites. After that, we got Members Only, featuring Party.
Yeah.
Party's my guy.
Where's your fucking album, guy?
Parties? Facts. He dropped a song, I think maybe in the summertime. It was a random ass. Oh, wow. I was gonna say the name of the song is Turbulent, but it's not it. Whatever.
No, but he's dropped. I mean, I think he's given a lot of his.
The last two items of music that I know that Party has, he dropped his solo song, I think in the summer, and then he dropped a song with Diddy. It was like sex Porsches.
He was
on.
He was on the Love album,
which I haven't heard yet, bro. But again, going back to Members Only, featuring Party Next Door, it's not one of their better collaborations in my opinion. I like the song. I listen to it. But yeah, Drake and Party definitely have better songs.
Yeah.
What would Pluto do? For me, it's a skip. I don't fucking like this song. For you? It's a skip.
I don't want to hear it.
And you know what's funny? I'm kind of seeing this on the internet that it's like it's one of the standouts that people actually really like.
My ear is a lot different, I guess. I don't know.
I hate the way it starts too. It starts with a ding ding ding. Like it sounds like a piano, but I don't know.
It doesn't speak to me.
And then after that, we got one of my favorites, All the Parties with Chief Keef. I like the way.
I like whenever you see Chief Keef kind of pop up. The way he's utilized is usually good. I like, and this was one of definitely the stronger efforts on the album.
Chief Keef, I feel like he, I don't know if this is fair to say, but I feel like he's been getting a lot more respect as of late for being like one of the pioneers in like the early 2010s of introducing.
Exactly.
Right? And I
because
feel
you're
like,
seeing the effects of his. These are all Chief Keef's children. These are all Waka Flocka, Chief Keef, Gucci Mane. That's the start of the point for all of this.
Shout out Chief Keef.
For better or worse.
So yeah, I like that song. You said you like that song as well.
Yeah.
All right, and now we get into. Is it your favorite?
That is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Produced by.
You do it. I can't.
Come on, man.
Conductor, we have a problem.
Conductor, we have a problem. Yeah, 8 a.m. in Charlotte. All right, talk to me, bro. What you liked about it? When you.
Yeah.
Because you know that timestamp Drake is a thing.
Timestamp Drake is a thing.
Talk to me.
As soon as I fucking heard the Conductor drop, I had to like rewind back with. Oh, okay. I guess that works too. You hear the soul sample. Drake in this tempo, he can't be fucked with. He's rapping his ass off. There was a couple of lines there when I was like.
Gripe number 5, elementary bars. That's one of my gripes against the song.
Well, so the thing was, I felt like this was a beat where he could just kind of talk his shit, but he was trying to like experiment with his rapping style. Don't do it on there, bro. Just talk from the heart on this one. Like, what's the fucking bar he had? Something.
I got a couple.
He's using the European countries.
So many checks owed. I feel Czechoslovakia, nigga.
Like,
No, come on, bro. You go wherever I go. I feel you go. Come on, man. Nah, come on, Drake. We don't. Come on. We can't do that on a timestamp song, bro.
No, we can't. And that's what. Like, I think, production-wise, this had potential to be top 3 timestamp. But I think the level of bars, and then when you size that up to 5 a.m. in Toronto, 4 p.m. in Calabasas, fuck, even 9 a.m. in Dallas. What was that bar about? Teenage, whatever. Drake, timestamp Drake is really a thing, and I'm not saying he didn't disappoint on this in my opinion. I think the record itself is fire, but bar for bar, it's not one of his better outings in terms of timestamp Drake.
And so so this brings me to a point where I kind of just mentioned where there are some. It's not just in this song. It's in a few songs where you can point out some bars that are just like they just kind of sounded a little lazy. In Virginia Beach, it's not a bar, but he says something about like "Mama, you so hot, I want to put a baby in you," and he used some sort of like words to rhyme together, and I was just like, dude, I could have put that line together. And I'm not trying to come off as a Drake hater, but these are like the little things that I'm looking for within the album, within the songs that I'm like, I'm just like holding you up to a standard that I feel like you should be held to because you're one of the kings of hip hop, whatever.
And you've proven you could rap.
That too.
You've proven you could rap, so we need something from you.
So okay, so 8 a.m. in Charlotte, I agree with you. I like the song. Anytime you hear boom bap, I'm automatically in.
And that Conductor drop, I really fuck with the fact that Drake did that.
That's
a little nugget to say. I still have my ear to the street in that regard. You got a conductor track. How else are you gonna come across it? There's obviously the Benny track that you only heard a leaked version of it on YouTube with Drake and Benny. So there's.
Are we ever getting that song? that was like 3 years ago.
If he comes out with like a Care Package Volume 2, maybe we'll get it. Or if it pops up on a Benny project, maybe. But I don't know. I think the moment's passed.
Yeah. Okay, so after 8 AM in Charlotte, we got BBL Love Interlude, and obviously this is one of the highlights of the album, where you get fucking shot. Sade Adu on BARK radio. I was hyped when I heard Sade. I was like, oh shit, okay.
Oh, that's hard.
That shit was fire. And there's always been rumors that I think, like Drake's #1 artist that he's always wanted to work with that he hasn't gotten to so far is Sade, and there was always rumors that they were trying to work together. A Sade and Drake song, I'm in. Take my fucking money, bro. If we put together Sade's vocal ability, that's what I'm saying.
I don't have the confidence that it would be done right at this point, bro.
I mean, what does that? If it's done right, what does that look like to you? What does that sound like to you?
It's hard to say.
You know?
I just know when I hear it.
I hear you, but yeah, when I heard that Drake has been a Sade fan and he wants to work with Sade, I was like, God damn, I want to hear that. Sade, my mom's a huge Sade fan and I grew up listening to Sade, so the fucking legend. And then after that, I think we got one of, if not the worst song on the album. And I don't know how you fucked this up. Bad Bunny's running the world right now.
And his album's fire.
His album is fire. So like, dude, this is like, I don't even let it play for a second. It's an automatic skip, bro.
It's a Patrick Ewing.
So, I know, right? I don't know what happened. Drake was wearing mad knee pads like fucking Patrick Ewing. Okay, gripe number 15. Next song.
From here on, I don't need to hear anything else.
Facts. Rich Baby Daddy featuring Sexy Red and the second feature from SZA. Why is Sexy Red getting on a fucking Drake album? And this goes to what Budden was saying, how like Drake is kind of like trying to stay young, where you don't need to stay young. You could just be on your own. You don't have to attach yourself to like whoever's hot right now. Sexy Red just popped off this past summer.
A little bit before that, but she has that grab, that appeal that Cardi B originally had, that like genuine hood rat shit. And I hate doing this to you because I dragged the pod out.
No, it's all good.
Something that I feel like Drake got from Ye, but can't do as well as Ye, is he takes pieces of the culture, things that are very much in the now, and he tries to incorporate into his albums. Like Ye always said, you listen to his album, you listen to Graduation, you see Wayne, you see T-Pain, because those were the guys of the time. He finds a way to fit those guys within the scope of his album, within the scope of his music. I feel like Drake does the same thing. That's why, from a culturally relevant standpoint, it makes sense to have Sexy Red on the album.
True.
But it's not done right, because that's one thing that Drake will never have a leg up on Ye, and it's the overall composer and the producer. That's Drake. That is Ye's standpoint, where he can figure out placement for these people. You heard it on Donda too. He fucking had everyone on there, and it was placed beautifully. And it was placed beautifully. He can still do that, and I think that Drake does attempt to do that. It's just not there. It's not, he doesn't have maybe the right minds or the right ideas in the room, and it just comes out like this.
Yeah. So yeah, that was just one of my things. I was like, I don't want to hear Sexy Red on a fucking Drake album, and I also thought it was too soon for her. Okay, so now this brings me to the next song, another late night featuring Lil Yachty. Why the fuck was Lil Yachty basically the rollout for this fucking album? Why the fuck was Yachty doing an interview saying like this is one of Drake's best albums? One of Drake's best verses are on this album. What the fuck, bro? First of all, we don't need you talking about Drake.
Yachty, circle back. Where was the verse that you were talking about?
And this is, but also I like Yachty. Especially what
I like
he's
him
been
as a
doing.
personality.
You don't like his music?
No.
You don't like what he's been putting out lately?
Like if we're talking about the Secret Recipe joint with Cole.
Did you listen to that album he dropped in the beginning of the year?
That was Good album.
That's what I'm saying. And
But
this kind of goes into what you were saying about Cole a little earlier, about how the growth within Cole, about the rapping schemes, the flows. I see that with Yachty. Yachty's starting to do that. He's starting to do it. He's trying to put his foot into like different genres, trying to incorporate it within hip hop, and I fucking appreciate that so much. But like as far as Yachty being the rollout for this album, it's like, bro, we don't need all that. And then on top of that, like I just said, you're saying that Drake's one of Drake's better verses is on this album. Like you're already like putting him behind.
Yeah, you set him back. You put him behind the 8 ball. You're saying I almost crashed listening to For All the Dogs.
Yeah.
Alright, Yachty.
What do you think about the song? No? I mean, I don't mind it.
It's cool. That's what I mean. Like, I think the Bad Bunny record, the Rich Baby Daddy record, no. These three, not bad, cool. That's my consensus for the next 3.
Yeah,
that's
I'm with
pretty
you.
much it.
Yeah, the last 2, Away From Home and Polar Opposites, it's just, yeah, I'm just like, okay, cool.
The album could be background music somewhere.
Alright, man. So, we talked about a lot about Drake. Just overall, just give me your favorites. Give me your favorites from this album.
I'm gonna go Amen. I'm gonna go First Person Shooter because of that Cole verse, and I'm gonna go Charlotte.
Those 3?
Those 3.
Alright, so we're doing top 3. Top 3 for me, we got Virginia Beach, Drew Picasso.
So, you wanna go with the record?
I was, you know me. I don't give a fuck with you. Yeah, man. And the Cole is just like, to me, that's Cole's song, so that's why I'm not picking it.
Yeah.
But yeah, those are the top 3 for me, man. Okay, so we wrapped up the Drake segment of the podcast. Drake, salute, being one of the kings of hip hop for the past 15 years. And again,
For sure.
if we're talking the year in hip hop, we gotta talk about the boy. He's running shit right now. We want to see you grow, and we're talking about you like this because we're fans of music and we're fans of hip hop.
And we've never seen a run like this before.
We're going to be talking about one of Drake's affiliates, the person who actually brought in Drake into the hip hop game.
Yeah.
We're going to be talking about Weezy F Baby. Mike, so when I was texting with you about different topics for the podcast, I think initially we were talking about that new Benny the Butcher and Lil Wayne song, Big Bro. And then you started talking to me, and you were like, "Yo, we should probably talk about Wayne's feature run." Yeah. So just talk to me wherever you want to go. I'll follow your lead. Talk to me about Wayne's run and however you want to talk about it.
Well, I think we've touched on this on other podcasts too, where it's like, you can't deny the overall run that Wayne had from, let's say, 06 to 2011, from when Drake took the torch. And that's albums, that's commercial relevance, everything. Wayne was on top of the game. I think, you could argue that it really peaked somewhere between 2008 and 2010. But after that point, when, the new class of rappers are coming in, Wayne's albums aren't necessarily hitting the same. What he chose to do within this time period is go back to what he does best, and that's just fucking rap. So we were just talking about Cole and what he's been doing on a feature run for probably, let's say, for 4 years.
Cole, yeah, I was gonna say
right?
4 or 5,
like 4 years, right? Yeah. Like he really put his foot in fucking everything. Wayne's been doing that for.
No. I was gonna wait for to see how long with the number you're gonna throw for how long Wayne's been doing it.
Wayne's been doing that. It's over 10 years at this point.
It's been a fucking minute.
And it's like everything ranging from a feature on a Drake record or a feature on a Currency record, a fucking Benny record, but wherever you see him and he's giving that pocket of 16 to 40 bars to just rap, just stand clear. And that's where he's been at. When you see Wayne on a record, talk about that spirit of competition, the guy who still cares about rapping. This guy, he doesn't. He's been in this game since 1997.
She was like 12.
Right? He doesn't need to give a shit about this. He's Lil Wayne. He can eat off of his fucking royalties at this point. He can eat off of his name. But he loves to rap. And that's why when I heard this, obviously it's over an Alchemist beat. It's next to one of better rappers in today's generation. He knew he had to come with it, and he ate.
Yeah, no, 100%. It's whenever you see an artist featuring Lil Wayne, it's kind of an expectation going into the song that like Wayne's gonna kill, but we still want to hear it. So he still has that like gravity where it's like we know he's gonna kill it, but we still want to hear him. We want to see how in shape he is.
He's still as creative as ever. You hear the scheme he rapped with on this. He kept the dog theme the entire verse through, and he fucking smoked that. And Benny did his thing too. Benny said, you're not gonna J. Cole me this time. So Benny put up a good effort, but Wayne really just showed why he's the level of rapper that he is.
Yeah. How do we feel about a Wayne project? Because he just came out with the. You told me about it, and then you told me about it when we did the Nas. Yeah, we did a Nas episode reviewing King's Disease 3. Go check it out. And then you're like, he's dropping a project soon, Fix Before 6, and I was like, oh shit, I never heard of it. And then he dropped it later that week. But how do we feel about the Carter 6, which is presumably the next project official project he's gonna drop? Like, how do we feel about a Wayne project?
I'm gonna listen. I don't have an expectation really. I'm gonna listen.
Right.
Maybe I'll find something I like. Maybe I won't. But
he still gets that respect from people. But you're gonna check it out. 100%.
No, you got it.
Yeah.
It's at this point, and it's crazy because he's what 41. He's a legacy act. He's a legend. So, you have to give it that respect where it's like, and especially the work he's been putting in on these features. I'm gonna listen to the Carter 6. I'm gonna listen because, especially, also, I mean, you could argue that it's a legendary saga, a legendary series of albums. I mean, the reason why there's an argument is because, to me, I think the classics are probably the first two. The third one is debatable. And then from there, like, 4, you had a couple of joints just like 3. 5, I don't even really remember.
Well, the first.
Well, it had Uproar on it, so that was a good joint.
The first 2 are regarded as classics within the hip hop culture, but Carter 3 was when he was at his commercially.
That was the peak.
Yeah.
That was a Millie.
A Lollipop.
That was our senior year, and that was the point where I was in a very rebellious stage in terms of hip hop music. So I didn't give Wayne the fair shake that I probably should have, even as someone who loved the Carter 1 and Carter 2, but because he wasn't rapping exactly like how I wanted him to rap, I was like, I don't got time for this. I don't want to hear this shit. So I kind of wrote Wayne off for some time, and I think what brought me back was that Corey Gunn feature.
6-7?
That I was like, I forgot. I need to speak. I need to lower my tone when I'm speaking.
Lower your tone when you're talking about Wayne. I'm dead. I mean, listen, man. I'm gonna put the link in the description below. But I put a little playlist together with Weezy features. I haven't updated it. I gotta add the Benny song. But this is some of the ones that I have. My favorite that I can talk about, M's with A$AP Rocky off the sophomore album. That shit was crazy. But look, we got Timeless with him and Big Sean. We got songs with Tyler the Creator or Westside Gunn. Is there one feature that stands out to you? And it might not be within this playlist. It could be within the playlist. Anywhere you want to go. I just want to see where your brain's at. Barry Bonds, obviously, with Yale for Graduation.
I'm not mad at any of this. But for whatever reason, I don't know. And I don't even know if the performance on the record was more eventful than some of the performances here. But when I think of Wayne's feature one, I brought this up before too. I think of a feature he had on the Currency mixtape.
Oh yeah.
The Carrollton Heist. I forget what but it was all produced by Alchemist. The record is called Fat Albert. And he just, like, the way he rapped over it, and it's just hard drums, Alchemist beat, and he just smoked it. But I think that's what comes to mind initially. But like you, I also think of M's as well, because I remember hearing that, because that album was fire too. That
100%.
That is, well, bro, that's stupid. But that feature came towards the end of the album, right? I
it was like middle towards
second to last track.
Yeah, it was like middle towards
you had
the end
Mos
of the
Def
album.
who also smoked, but he ate on that shit. And I think honestly, Only Live Twice also, but this record on the This feature on the Benny record is one of those ones. He
Wait,
really
you,
ate.
you said yeah, you only live twice off the CLB.
Yes.
Yeah, that shit was fire. Yeah, that new song with Benny is fire too. But M's, I remember exactly where I was when I heard M's for the first time, and honestly, I hate to sound corny and it's a fucking cliche, but it was kind of a breath of fresh air. Cause like I don't know, like before listening to that song, the way I would hear Wayne was in a very specific kind of way. The way I listened to him. I'm not saying the way he was sounding the same. I'm just saying the way I heard him was very specifically. But then when I heard him come on the feature on that song, I heard him differently, and I'm just like, what the fuck? Like this is Wayne? Like god damn, he's in shape. Holding his own against A$AP Rocky, who at the time was one of the premier artists at the time.
Yeah. And he was rapping his best on that album.
Facts. And like that kind of like from that song moving forward, it changed my view of Wayne, and it changed the way I approached Wayne whenever he was dropping a song or he was on a feature on a song. It was just that moment. That's why I have it number one on the playlist.
The one thing I want to see
From Wayne.
Is a record on the Fall Off with him and Cole.
Ooh.
That's what I want to see.
That might, you know what, man? Now that I'm thinking about it, because it's a thing.
No,
the Cole feature, the Weezy feature is a thing. So like,
no, it's definitely a thing.
So no, but I'm saying if they're smart and they have a song together on the Fall Off, you know how fucking crazy that'll be.
Just make it 2 verses.
That'll be a fucking moment.
24.
Okay, would you want just 2 verses, one from Cole, one from Wayne, or would you want them doing a back and forth kind of thing?
2 verses.
2 verses? Why? Instead of the back and forth.
The back and forth is kind of like a cheat code thing. I don't want to hear that. I want to hear you put your best foot forward in however many bars that is, and you put your best foot forward.
I feel you.
I want it because that's the spirit of competition. I feel like it's more collaborative. It's more we're all friends when it's back to back. Nah, you two doing this shit to people's records the way you've been doing, disrespecting people. No, you guys gotta face up. You guys are the 2 toughest kids in the high school, 2 toughest kids in the neighborhood. Now you fight. Who's the toughest?
I feel you.
You know what I mean?
Nah, that was a really good way of putting it. I like that. That'll be legendary if it happens. Salute Wayne, a legend in the game. Keep going, keep doing your thing, and we're gonna keep looking forward to it. So now what I want to do, since we're talking hip hop in 2023, it's only right that we talk about some projects from 2023 that stood out to us. And I'll start it off. I want to talk about the latest album from Westside Gunn, and then you pray for me. Now, first and foremost, Westside, please stop saying that this is your last album. I hate when rappers do that.
Done with that. He's done with that.
He said it for this album though.
No, but he stopped. He reneged on that.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Thank God. Okay, so as far as the Westside Gunn Griselda project, you kind of know what you're getting as far as the sound of it. Of course, it's gonna be boom bap, right? But what Westside Gunn does, that he does get respect for, but we should shine a little bit more of a light on, is the cohesiveness of the project and adding other people to the project. And like I just said, being cohesive, not sounding out of pocket, not sounding out of place. Now, one of the standouts of the album, the one with Rome Streets, number 20, the Revenge of Flip's Leg. Of course, this is a Westside Gunn album, but as of late, Rome Streets has been fucking putting his fucking foot in anything he touches.
Oh, yeah.
I sent this to you. Your response was like, I don't know. You said some shit that only you would say. It was like, expect it or something.
It was just...
Yo, when I heard this, I was like, God, Rome Streets, bro. Because when you think of Griselda, obviously you think about Benny, Westside, and you think of Conway.
Yeah.
But there's so many other people that are within the Griselda camp. You got Rome Streets, you got Stove God, you got Boldy James, you got Armani Caesar, who's a fucking killer in their own right. And man, that was one of the standouts of the song. And I just want to hear some of your thoughts about the album, or Westside, whatever, wherever you want to go.
So, and this could have really been a part in and of itself because it's such a dynamic album. The feedback, the fact that he knew the type of feedback he was going to get. But I'll start off here because we were just talking about the Drake and Kanye thing and how Kanye produces albums. People aren't going to see this yet, maybe in hindsight. Westside Gunn is a direct lineage and the closest thing to a Kanye West I think we have in this time in terms of catalog and how he places people. This album is decorated with people you would never think to hear on a fucking Griselda album. I mean, even I like the Denzel Curry record, but you have
STG.
yeah, STG. Yeah,
Something like that?
he's on like there are different placements on this album that you don't expect it. He's doing like trap shit on here. He's got Take Keith beats, but somehow he managed to fit it all kind of where, in my opinion, just because I can appreciate Westside Gunn and his ear for music, I think that this is one of his better albums. It's not his best, but I know a lot of the Griselda traditionalists were like, "What are you doing with this? What are you with the trap beats with all the?" I like it. I like it because it furthers the Griselda brand.
Right.
You know, and I saw it coming. I knew that this was you hear Conway getting on, more trap friendly, BPMs. Benny the same thing.
Yeah.
So I like the balance of this album. Obviously it has its standouts, and me once again going back to the shit that I like. It will always I'll always lean more towards the Revenge of the Flip's Leg or the record with Boldy on here. But to be even Mama's Prime Time with the JID, But my favorite record, the record I go back to the most, is Take Keith produced number 3, Costas.
Oh yeah.
That shit is fucking ridiculous. I think like
That's
Conway just loses his mind there. This is one of my favorite albums of the year in terms of hip hop. I don't think that there's an album that I've gone back to more than this one.
Ooh, interesting.
Yeah,
Really?
It wasn't it's not saying too much because in my opinion, it wasn't a great year in hip hop. It just wasn't. I'm bored of a lot of shit at this point.
Yeah.
But I fuck with this.
Okay.
Love the AA Rashad intros.
Talk to me about a project that stood out to you, or that was one of your favorites. So you just mentioned something right now. You were talking about just like the year in hip hop and how it was kind of dark. My question to you is, do you think in your eyes hip hop it was kind of dark because we're just at an older place and it's hard for us to keep in touch with what's going on in hip hop right now? Or do you think hip hop is in a dark place and the quality of music that's coming out is just not great?
The latter.
You think it's the latter?
Because I think that creativity is at an all-time low. You see it because when guys who are creative or put time into their albums come out, like a Westside Gunn, you hear it, you feel it, like shit is different, he's attacking things from a different angle. Now because of things like streaming and, the numbers game, creativity takes a back seat to just relevance and fame. That's really just where we're at. And I feel like that could be said for, a good part of the last 20 years. However, it just seems like we're lacking in artists that want to push the culture forward at this point.
And the reason why I asked you that question is because if I ask you to tell me who's, besides Drake, I guess, who's the hottest in the game right now, do you think you can tell me?
Probably not.
Okay, hold on, stay right there. So, and me too, I can't tell you who's the hottest in the game right now besides Drake, because I feel like our ears are just not in the streets, if you will.
Yeah.
Our ears are not just going to what's going on right now because we're just a little bit older. So this is what I'm saying is that since our ears are not for what's going on right now, how can we know what's hot in hip hop?
There's two caveats there.
Do you understand what I'm trying to say though?
Yeah, 100%.
Okay, sorry,
but here's the issue. If you're hot enough, us just as hip hop lovers and listeners, whether we like it or not, it makes its way to us. It does. If you're the hottest, it makes its way to us. That's why Drake is still on top, because there's no one surpassing it. There's people who buzz in the underground, they fall off just as quick as they come. But so the other caveat, other than making it to us, the amount of music that comes out now, it's impossible for us to keep up with everything, and that kind of lends itself to the first point in the sense that it'll rise above if it is that crazy, if it is that hot. There's shit that may be culturally relevant to people in their, high school to their early 20s, but you're not really smoking it like that if it's not making it to us.
Okay, so you're saying that like it doesn't matter that our ears are not to the streets. Is that if it's hot, it'll reach us.
My point is that there's 40-year-olds when Drake came out that grew up on Only Built for Cuban Links that knew Drake was here. Whether they hated on him or whether they didn't, they knew Drake was here. They knew Cole was here because they were making that type of noise. Because they were the next generation.
So nobody right now is making that kind of noise?
No, there's nobody.
Okay.
There's people, I think there's an undercurrent of whatever the hell's going on, but nobody that... We might not even see another true star in hip-hop ever again. Just because of the way music is. Unless we revert back to a point where, like, it gets so oversaturated that people intentionally put out less music or whatever, I don't know. But at the rate we're going, we'll never see another Drake, another Jay, another Nas, another Ye, these guys, another Wayne, who are clearly the head of the generation. Now it's kind of all mashed into a gumbo. It's like...
So you think the Drake class is like the last class of like those superstars or stars that we're gonna have?
Because think about it, people thought, oh, Chance the Rapper's the next one. What's Chance the Rapper? Little Baby's next. Where's Little Baby? Like, where are these people that everyone thought that was up next? They get sucked into the abyss. They just kind of they're still around. They're still culturally relevant, but no one's rising above that point. I just think the way the game's structured now, I don't know if we're ever going to see another guy. I don't think we're ever going to see another Drake. But Drake is an anomaly in and of himself for 15 years to be. Yeah. But just another guy who's clearly the guy in hip hop.
I get what you're saying.
Why is Drake still at 15? Nobody came. Fucking crazy, but that's just where I'm at.
No, that's an interesting conversation about like where hip hop is going, and we're going to talk about that a little bit coming up. But as far as one of your favorites for the year, we're talking about Magic 3, and before Mike breaks it down, go check out the episode where we give an entire breakdown of the album and what we like about it. But just to touch base on this album, what did you like about the album? You know, wherever you want to go.
I mean, just because I know a lot of the people who are going to listen to this episode, listen to that episode, I'm not going to talk their ears off, but it's basically... It's Nas returning to form over peak production and showing that, speaking to the point of Lil Wayne, you have your Wayne feature on there, smoke shit, but Nas has been doing this for God knows how long, and within the last fucking 3 years, he's just been on an uncontested run. I love it. I mean...
And it may be a run that we never see again from a...
Veteran.
From a veteran, from a fucking legacy act, from a fucking... From the standpoint of like, how old is Nas? 50 something?
He just turned 50 this year.
There you go. So like, at 50 years old, not to drop one album and be relevant, to drop a series of albums, and be relevant and show everybody that you're still, when you put your mind to it, you can still be one of, if not the guy in hip hop. Yeah. He's showing everybody how to age gracefully.
Grammy nominated.
Grammy winner as well.
Grammy winner last year. Grammy nominated.
Yeah.
So we'll see where that goes, but yeah. Another album though. I can't see, and for some reason it always slips my mind. That Killer Mike album.
You took mine,
that
bro.
Michael album.
You took mine, bro.
That's probably the best hip hop album of the year.
Yeah. No, I'm not mad at you, bro.
Fucking incredible, man.
That was gonna be my next album. Yeah, man. This album, I remember he was on a media run, and he was talking about like what he had to do in order to put this album out. So he put this album out independently. He put this album out like with his own money. Yep. And he was saying how he took years because he wanted to get it right. He wanted to get the sound right.
He got it right.
He got it fucking right, man.
And I wasn't the biggest Run the Jewels guy.
Me neither.
I always knew because of his appearances on Outkast Records, he could rap. I wasn't necessarily sure of the extent of his artistry, but this is like incredible shit right here. And I think that because this is that's what triggered the thought, another Grammy nominee. I think that this is the album that deserves that Grammy.
This one got nominated?
Yep.
What do you think? You think?
I think it deserves it. I think.
Who do you think is gonna win, and who do you think should win?
I think Killer Mike is gonna win, and he should win.
So back to back for you.
Yeah.
Huh?
I think he's going to. I think that the Travis album, it's one of those things like we see a lot. It comes and then it goes, and you never really think about it again.
The Travis album, and I'm sorry, we're not trying to just skip over Killer Mike. We're gonna talk about the Travis album next. But as far as this album, this was an incredible cohesive body of work. And my favorite song of this album is Spaceship Views with Currency, Cash Page, and 2 Chainz.
We agree there.
That song is fucking ridiculous. But he has a feature from Andre 3 Stacks, featuring Future, Scientists and Engineers. That song is crazy. This album, if all you know about Killer Mike is Run the Jewels, we highly recommend you to listen to this album because it's not what you're going to be expecting going into this album.
Absolutely.
So that was definitely one of the highlights of this year. And another album that came out this year, you were talking about Utopia by Travis Scott. So this album is interesting because, especially when Astroworld came out, that was like 2018, I want to say. It was a fucking moment.
Big time.
It was a fucking moment. Travis was ruling the world.
It lasted.
It did last. And then the Astroworld Festival happened, and he had to take a step back. Because unfortunately, some people did lose their lives. And I felt like that event affected this album because that event happened maybe like in 2021. Yeah. It was a while ago.
Yeah, it was post-pandemic.
Post-pandemic. So let's say it was 2021. This album just came out sometime this year, and there was a big gap in between. Travis was always around, but he wasn't really putting out music. But he was still around. You could still hear him. You could still feel him. He was doing like production with other songs. But this album is so interesting because leading up to this album, people were anticipating it. Travis also made announcements that he was going to do like this legit world tour, doing concerts from like Rome, Italy, from doing Greece and shit. Egypt. The initial one was Egypt, but it got canceled because he was doing the pyramids. And then after that, he didn't do the Egypt one. He did one Rome, Italy. That shit was crazy. But just the lasting impact of the album, it just wasn't there. And it's interesting because when I'm talking about this album with my friends, it's just like, it's kind of like what you just said. It just kind of came and went. And it was like, it's not that Travis doesn't have that gravity anymore, because he still has that, but there's something that just didn't click with this album, and I can't put my finger on it. I don't know if you want to expand on that.
You know what I think? I think it was a good album, like it had an impact when it came out, because it's good music, but it's nothing that broke any ground. And that's where you get the albums that you kind of talk about for longer than... And we're living in a time where it's the shortest expiration date in the history of music. Something comes out, you forget it came out within the next week if it's not something of note.
The next day,
That's really where we're at.
Talking about the attention span.
To the attention span, just overall, once again, the volume of music that's coming out.
Crazy, bro.
So, even if you're one of the biggest artists in the game, if you come out with an album...
Which he is.
Which he, absolutely. Yeah. If you come out with an album that is just kind of cool, okay, we bumped, like, we gave you records here and there. It kind of dies out just that quick. I think that there's nothing that, like, if it's not better than Astroworld, it's just going to die like everything else that comes out.
What do you think is Travis's best album? Mine is Astroworld.
I'd probably say Astroworld. But the one that came
before that
was
Birds in the Trap.
That album was fucking... He has a good catalog.
He has an amazing catalog.
He has, what was the first... Rodeo, and then you go... He has a really good catalog of this is why he is who he is today. But I would have to say, I think, like, you probably have a lot of contrarians who say, actually, no, but I would have to say the safe bet is Astroworld is his best album.
So...
Because you get everything.
My shout out Jeff and Rainer again. They think Birds in the Trap is Travis's best album, which I'm not mad at.
I'm not mad at that either.
But my reason as to why Astroworld was his best album, because that's the moment where he went commercial, but he was still able to maintain his sound. It's not like he completely sold out, but even going commercial and maintaining his own sound, he was able to cultivate this fucking moment. That's where the Astroworld Festival began.
Right.
And it was just, it was a moment, bro. Like, everywhere you turned, it was something about Travis Scott. Whether it was the music, whether it was the merch. That was around the time we did the McDonald's merch.
Yeah.
It was the festival. Like, it was just always Travis Scott, and it was done with such a level of taste that gained my respect. But again, that unfortunate tragedy happened, and he had to take a break, which hurt him. And I think it's what happened to this album. I think that gap kind of hurt him. But I also wanted to come back to this album had a moment.
It did.
Meltdown. I'm talking about specifically.
Oh yeah, Meltdown.
Meltdown with Drake. That shit was
your boy Pharrell and Pusha.
Yeah, going at Pharrell and Pusha, and that was.
Just Pharrell.
I mean, he's associated with Pusha.
Leave that alone.
Separate the two. Compartmentalize. That's a fact. Compartmentalize. Yeah, I mean, I think the moment from this album is Meltdown.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. The moment of this album, like that kind of even hit the casual listener, is definitely Meltdown. Fiend had a run too.
Fiend had a run.
You kind of saw that everywhere. I mean, man, when you look at the track list, it's like it's a good album. The thing is like, to your point about Astroworld, the reason why Astroworld was so special is because he did balance commercialism, and he was at like the peak or the climax of what he'd been developing over all these years. Like, that's the maximum cultivation of his sound, of what he can do in that. I don't think that that's where it stops for him. But I think as far as what he'd been developing up to that point, sound and just overall artistically, that's the peak of it. Now he has to evolve from that. Here you don't get the evolution, you get more of a continuation, so you kind of you kind of this wasn't better than Astroworld. It's not a bad album, but if it's not better than Astroworld and it's kind of in the same vein, it's gonna.
So what does that look like for Travis? Like, you want him. We would like to see a growth. We would like to see. Like, what does that even look like for him?
It's tough to say.
It's tough to say because the kind of music he came out with, which is still his sound, was so different. And was such a left turn from what was going on at the time.
Yeah.
That it's like, okay, now you're gonna make another left turn from already what you were doing. You already took such a drastic turn. Now you're gonna make another one.
But you see, the thing is, it's hard to call with guys who are insanely creative, which I do give Travis the credit.
I'm with you there. Yeah.
But look at, and we can never escape the reference, but it's true. Look at a guy like Kanye West. He could have rolled those soul samples into the fucking ground. What did he choose to do? Then he goes 808 and Heartbreak. Then he goes Yeezus. He keeps elevating. So someone like him, that's what he's got to do. He's got to really get in this experimental bit. I think you see pieces of what potentially could be experimental, but it's not all the way there yet. It's not all the way developed. But dudes who are that insanely creative and you have that level of artistry, you have no choice but to make polarizing moves like the Kanye does. If you want to exceed out of just like the hip-hop bracket, which I think Travis Scott is bigger than just a hip-hop artist. I think he's could potentially be a cultural icon if he's not already there.
Yeah, I agree with you on that.
But you got to keep kind of building off and experimenting. He reached the peak the same way Ye knew he reached the peak of what he was doing with My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, and he knew at that point, I'm gonna pivot off and do something completely different. That's where you get the Yeezus. So, and that has to happen, or else you're gonna you're gonna be notable because you're that talented. People are gonna talk about it, but you gotta kind of keep evolving at that point.
Another album that I want to get to. We talked about him a little earlier. This artist, he's known for being a hip hop artist, but the album that he came out with at the beginning of this year is not a hip hop album, but I definitely still want to shout it out. It's Lil Yachty. It's called Let's Start Here. Okay, so for anybody listening to this podcast, first and foremost, thank you very much. But if you haven't heard this album, don't go into this album expecting a hip hop album. This is actually Lil Yachty going completely left field and going into his rock/experimental bag. Like, and I have so much respect for him for doing this And he dropped it on January 27th, which is literally the beginning of this year. And I feel like when people are going to be coming out with their lists of best projects of 2023, whether if it's hip hop, R&B, or just projects in general, it should be on there. But I feel like since it came out literally in the first month, I feel like people might glance over it. So I just want to make sure that I highlight it because I love when artists, they just like, yo, fuck it, I'm known for this, but I actually like this, and I want my fans to know that about me. And it's like they're risk takers, and they're like, fuck it, yo, I just want to do it. I want to do what I like, and I like what he did.
That's what Travis Scott has to do.
No, yeah, that's literally what you're saying, yeah. And Yachty's an interesting figure in hip hop, man, because he's one of those people that came out after the class of the Dre Cole.
He's the SoundCloud. He's that same 21 Savage, that same.
He's in the SoundCloud era. He's in the SoundCloud era of those rappers. But Yachty is interesting because Yachty, you can tell that he takes this shit very serious. Like, to come out with a project like this, he knows the talk that he's getting about him. He knows the narrative about him. That he's like, there was a narrative about him that he's not really a good rapper, that he can't put out good projects. And he put out multiple projects. He did the Michigan album where he stuck to one type of hip hop sound. He immersed himself into that world, and he tried to deliver a project showing his rapping capabilities. And with this album, he just wants to show his artistic growth, and he just wants to show that he's not just like a one-trick pony.
Yeah.
And I just love when people do that, man.
Yeah. And when they do it well, it's really groundbreaking.
Yeah, this album was in heavy rotation for the first few months of 2023. So that's definitely one album that I want to shout out Yachty.
Yeah, and I have to go back to the statement because you asked me if I fucked with this music and you reminded me of this album because I had forgotten about this album. But this was a very good project. I respected his level of artistry, and I do, see that he is trying to prove because he cares. Now I could rap. You see on the Secret Recipe, unfortunately, he went toe to toe with someone who.
He didn't do bad though.
No, he didn't do bad. He was just next to someone who he probably.
Certified killer.
Yeah.
Yeah. And another project that dropped in 2023 that we're both fans of, an affiliate of Griselda Records. Yep. We're talking about Conway the Machine, of course. Won't he do it? Mike, you were telling me that this is one of your favorites of the year. So if you want to just talk about it.
So I think you get someone, Conway. I think that he is one of the guys on Griselda who kind of has gone out on the ledge and has experimented with different sounds, obviously Benny is Benny, Westside Gunn is the artist, but with Conway, you see him kind of this album is a good balance of all of his kind of styles, where you have the prototypical towards the bottom of the album. You have his prototypical Griselda shit, Brick Bear, Kill Judas, Fire, the Brooklyn Chop House, no drums on it.
Fab
lost his fucking noodle there.
Fab, we need more fucking.
Yeah.
We need more verses like that, boy.
It's funny you said that because he fucking went crazy. My favorite record on here, though, is the Kanye record. I just like the element of gospel there. He only puts one verse on it, and he kind of just...
I like how the last track has someone that we don't think he would fucking...
That's what I mean. And he's kind of... And, he did that even with the, the JID record. Even though, JID's a spitter, and we know that. You don't expect to see Conway and JID, but he did that on the last, I think it was the last album. Unfortunately, with hip-hop, I look for a couple of artists. Like I said, there's very few artists that I look forward to hearing from because...
I'm in the same boat as you. Like, I look for particular artists. If it comes across my radar, like a brand new artist, a new sound, if it comes across my radar and I like it, I'll try to keep up with it. Right. But I'm not actively trying to do that. I just try and keep up with the artists that I like, that I've been listening to for a while. That's where we're at. Yeah.
But like if someone who I know where their ear's at sends me something, I'll listen. Like if you find some shit and you send it to me, I'm gonna listen. Because alright, this is a referral. Like this I know D's fucking ear for music, I'm gonna check this out. But to your point, if I don't have that, I'm probably not gonna go out of my way for it. So
All right.
Hopefully, 2024 is a better year for hip hop. We'll see.
Yeah, hopefully, man. We'll see.